another session of Halftime Chat Must Be the Music. Got special guests today. I mean, all my guests are special, and today's no exception. I'm going to welcome Sam. He is a gospel artist, choir leader, and he's got a new single coming out, and it'll be great to listen to how he started in the music business, and also hear about his journey. So I'm just going to welcome Sam in. Okay. Hello, Sam. How you doing? Oh.
No, without you. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Well,
Blessed.
yeah.
Blessed.
Okay. I mean, welcome to It Must Be the Music, which is our feature in Halftime Chats. This is the show explores your beginnings of how you got into music, how because not all of, or as much as we all like to sing, not all of us have the extra gift that can use to become an artist, record singles, and even perform live. So what we want to explore is how you got into the music industry, how what's been just challenges, the successes, your views on the market now, and then it'd be good to know what you've got in store. But as always, we always like to start from the beginning and just see, an international audience. Where are you from, and where did you sort of grow up and everything?
Fantastic. My name is Sam Adebanjo. I am from Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. Came here when I was 15. I'm 40 years old now.
Okay.
I feel like a very young man.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And so that's pretty much me. I'm a gospel artist, a gospel entrepreneur. I like to see myself, and so I have a company called Gospel Touch, and I'm also an artist myself. So
Okay.
we should go by the name Sam Adebanjo.
Okay, so as you said, if we go back a little bit, so you grew up in Nigeria when you're 50. Were you singing then? Were you playing? Were you into music when you were back in those early days?
Yeah, I was always trying to be part of a choir. And when I was in school, in secondary school, I was part of the choir. So, I just always wanted to do music. To be honest, I was part of the school choir.
Okay.
And I wasn't so active in it because I was like, I remember when I started the school that I went to in Lagos, before I went to Shagamu, a place called Nigeria, coached Ogun State, around Ogun State, and I went there with boarding school. So by the time I joined the school, I heard there was a choir there, but I kind of, I wasn't given, when you don't know things actually take place. And you try to figure it out yourself, like, oh, there's a choir, oh, they got a choir. So all this, I was in this school for like, I think 2 years.
Yeah.
So it took me kind of trying to get into the choir. So what I'm trying to say is I never really, apart from I've always been singing since when I was 10, I've always just loved singing. Used to write songs. My parents always used to play music. So I just used to write songs, and when things were tough growing up for me, to be honest, because my mom came to England when I was quite young, so I missed my mom a lot of time. Okay. So I used to always kind of sing, sometimes cry and sing. That was really where the whole music came from for me.
But you say your parents, were they playing just records, or were they actually playing instruments when you were young?
No, they were just playing music. It was just music.
In the house.
Yeah, mainly gospel music,
Okay.
most of the time. And then so that's just where my inspiration came from in terms of music. I just picked up. I always loved music.
So back in those days, because I've spoken to different artists along the way, and one of the common thing is there's music in the house, but different types of music, whether it is cultural music or whether it was disco or stuff when they're young and their parents are playing. But in your household, what types of songs were you constantly listening to that they were playing?
Yeah, mine was always gospel music.
Okay.
I would say, it was more traditional music. I didn't really grow up with, of course, I know the popular music, then the Afrobeat.
Yeah.
That one really popular thing in my house.
Okay.
But we heard that at parties. We know all the contemporary music that was on. In fact, I never really know English music, like,
Oh.
pop and all that stuff until when I came. I think probably I was like 14, 15. I started kind of hearing the music that was trending then. So
Okay.
because I got saved quite early in my, as a young child, became very devoted to Christianity, and so I was quite more gospel music, really.
Okay.
More kind of Nigerian gospel music. Is what I listened to actually growing up. I just picked up music naturally myself in terms of music instruments. I didn't really play music instrument. I never felt like I had the opportunity to learn it. But I just always wanted to play. So I remember teaching myself how to play the recorder, and then that kind of thing. Yeah.
So when you were you said around 15 you moved to the UK, before you actually moved, did you ever think, I want to be a full-time performer, I want to sing, or was it just like you like singing, like music, but it was not anything like you ever thought you have a career in it?
Yeah, definitely. I always thought like I would one day. I used to think the way I was singing, I used to say to myself, one day I'm going to be a famous gospel singer.
Wow.
And everybody's going to know me, especially in Nigeria. I used to always think that. But then growing up, I was like, because I've always said gospel singer.
Okay. Yeah.
So growing up, I always felt like gospel singers didn't really have that breakthroughs on the worldwide level. But I just always thought that's what I was going to do. But then I thought also that I was going to be a pastor. So I was like, I want to be a pastor. I want to be a pastor because I thought that was the best way to get to heaven.
Okay.
As a child. As a child, so I was like, I want to be a pastor. As a teenager, be a straight path to heaven. You live a good life and all that stuff. So then when I got to this country, I faced the reality of even actually keeping my faith, and which was challenging because as a young person, when you don't have anybody around you doing the same thing, it didn't take me too long for me to kind of, backslide, and pretty much I went away from my faith onto some time in 2002 after going through a lot of challenges with the police, getting arrested so many times and all that stuff. And I was like, I can't live this life no more. I'm in university at this stage, and I'm like, well, if I continue doing this, I'm going to end up in jail and all that stuff. So God forbid that. So I kind of changed my ways based on the decisions that I wanted to live a better life. And I wanted to make my parents proud. And plus, I knew God was calling me to come back. Like, He didn't want me to be where I was. So, so that's where I find myself, where I am now.
Yeah. So, but in that, which was really, really remarkable, where was the music? I mean, were you more gravitated to, I think if you Jodeci, all the American R&Bs, that you kind of forget the dream of being a gospel singer, or where was music in those days for you?
Music was always there, Music was always there. So I remember when I came here in 1995. At this stage now, I joined the church. I started playing the conga drum.
Okay.
I was playing that for the church. Then, I used to just enjoy that, being part of the choir there and playing that. I didn't really think much. Well, music singing was more my passion. I didn't do it, but in school I was involved in recording, so I spent most of my time in school really doing every shows. We did a tour, primary school tours, recording, and I would always sing in Yoruba. I would always sing it in what they call more is Afrobeat now style. I would always do that. I would play, and even though nobody else was doing it, they've never heard anybody doing that.
Yeah.
But I would always sing that because that's where I felt my strength. So every track I would record a Yoruba song, and I would just be playing. My teacher then would say, "Sammy, we got a visitor coming." I remember, I think it was Trevor McDonald that came to our school. He was a big name person anyway. He came to our school, and they asked me to play, and I play and sang. And again, they asked me to do it again for, they were doing this ITV Brixton Challenge. They asked me to come back again and do it there. I went back there again. I play again in dialect, singing Yoruba song and playing drums. So all that gave me confidence in just doing what, even though and luckily, fortunately for me, I didn't have people in my school laughing at me doing
Yeah,
the
that's
same
what I was going to
thing.
find out. Okay.
Yeah. So fortunately for me, they didn't, so I kind of, even though, people tried to bully me in school, with my African accent when I first came from Nigeria. But with the music stuff, I never really had people discouraging me from doing it. So, and I think that's been a good strength for me to keep going. And I always knew that because when I sang it good. And people heard it and they heard there was something to it. So, and I think that's always kept me on for me to keep doing it.
So then, but you did say that you kind of moved away from your faith, but then were you still performing with music?
Yeah, I was still performing music. So we were in school, even though I wasn't grounded like I was, but I was still singing the song I knew. They were gospel, and I was still singing the school band. The school band song, we used to do songs like "Wow, Tim, you make my heart sing."
Okay.
What was trending then? We sang that with the band. Obviously, I was the drummer. In fact, I was the school drummer. And this time, before the Congo drum, I used to play the drum set for my school, in secondary school then. So I was really passionate about it, and I loved it. So that's it in school. So all that gave me confidence and to continue to do it. The love for music was always there, so it didn't really matter where the music, I just did it.
So when you got to university, were you still focused on the dream of being an international gospel artist, or did that vision sort of take a back seat when you got to university?
Yeah, when I got to university, that vision continued. But however, it wasn't quite the same because uni was just uni. I wasn't really so much into music then up until 2000, a year after I started. My first year in uni was just kind of settling down, okay. And then I remember, so my second year, I saw some group of people. I remember I saw one particular girl sang at a birthday party, and she sang happy birthday, and my hair swirled, and my head I was like, what a voice. From there, that gave a vision for me, and I thought, okay, I'm going to set a group together. I remember P. Diddy and relationship with Biggie. What I mean? So I was like, So I was kind of like, this is an opportunity to bring somebody, to bring myself up and with somebody else. So at this time, I started going to church back again, and I now ask another two really talented people that was in that church. Fortunately, that church I started going to had some talented young people, and another girl that was my age as well. She also had a lovely voice. She was part of a group as well. So so I joined with them. We formed our first group called One. We're naming One. Based on, we have one body, one Christ, that kind of thing. Based on that scripture, and I think it's in Ephesians, one of that scripture. And then we named it that, and we did our first single, our first track, and we entered competition in school then, in our uni then. and then everybody was buzzing about it. Again, I sang Yoruba. I was the only one that sang Yoruba in the group. And when I didn't sing Yoruba, I would just say, "Yeah, come on, let's go." You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And, but
now,
one thing that was,
I have a question about that. It was that because you felt more comfortable in that, and you didn't want to stretch yourself into doing it in English, or what was the reason for staying in that lane?
That's it. Yeah, I was more comfortable. I was more comfortable with that. You know, I knew these other singers were more talented singers than I am. I am. They you know, they were stronger singers. It wasn't just about me. It was about, this is my brand anyway.
Yeah.
So if they do well, they do well for themselves, and they develop, and the brand grows. And my motive was for me to also grow, because if you move with some people that are really good, you become good. So these people were top singers, you know. Some of them still do music now, and they are still amazing to now in what they in their talent and voices. So I linked up with those people that were really super talented, and some of the best singers that were around it.
And you know, one of the things I have to commend you on, and what I'm hearing is the fact that because I think a lot of people make that mistake, is they're like, what's popular now, and they move to that. But what you were saying is you knew your strength and you stayed in your lane, and even if people weren't ready for it, eventually you'd get the market, which is remarkable. But the second thing is that you said is you knew that by surrounding yourself with people who were talented, the only thing they can do is pull you up, as opposed to people who you're better than think, okay, I'm better than you guys, but we're not going anywhere. So that was remarkable. So the group then is, you know, you're in university, you've got these, is it two other ladies and yourself?
Yeah, so it was this lady called Cathy, and then another lady joined called Daisy. And then Daisy has a sister called Wanda, then she joined us as well. And then we had another friend in uni that was into recording and singing. He joined us as well. So that was about 5 of us.
Okay.
So we started kind of doing stuff, and just between us, really, we were super, just amazing, talented.
Were you writing your own stuff, or were you singing popular people's things?
Yeah, we wrote our own song. It was a gospel group, by the way. So I've always wanted to do gospel. So when I started this group, it was an opportunity for me to. I always knew that that's my calling. That's, you know, nothing else I was gonna sing. And at this stage, really, I did used to listen before. I used to listen to R&B and all that stuff, and I realized that those music for me, I saw that I was able to differentiate the difference between growing up and my friends that listen to that kind of music that I also listened to at some stage. I was able to see the difference between somebody that listened to slow jam all the time, somebody that listened to rap all the time. I was able to differentiate a little bit the difference between the way we behave. You know, for example, I listened to slow music, so I was more like a ladies' man. So I was get girls and all that stuff, you know, slick them up with my music and all that stuff. So my approach was slightly softer than somebody that would also listen to rap and the way they deal with other people around. So when I got saved, I was very quick to say, you know what, there's power in music, there's power in music, delivering messages and all that stuff. So immediately, really, pretty much, or should I say, gradually, I disconnected myself with science music and all that.
So you know, I think it's so I'm wondering then, when you guys were performing, you instead of coming forward as I'm going to be this artist, you decided I need a group, and you said that was inspired by Bad Boy Puffy and his entourage, not the type of music, but that sense of collectiveness. Or did you?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, the collectiveness for me was really that collectiveness is something really that I picked up on there, and I would say one of my role model, person that inspired me. No, I won't say role model. Not now though, but then was P. Diddy. And what I loved about PDD was able to just, he didn't have as much talent, but it was more a businessman. It was a go-getter.
Yeah.
It was somebody that just wanted to make things happen, and I love that. And I picked that up because I consider myself that I didn't have the same level of talent that the people around me did. So I thought, what's the best way for me to really excel? And that was to pick up. I just, something really with me. I associated myself as somebody that didn't have the same level of talent, but I am determined, I am focused. I'm going to bring the people that have the talent, but they don't know how to use it. I'm going to help them to use it, and I'm going to rise up the same way, higher than them, because I'm driven and I want to make things happen for them and also for me. And eventually, because I'm not just dealing with them, I'm dealing with other people that are talented. So I knew that bringing everybody together, I was always going to come back on top.
Wow. So what happened with the group after uni? What did you guys do?
Yeah, the group actually continued, and then in 2003 we changed the group to Desire to Worship God, because at this stage now I'm even more stronger in my faith, because 2002 was the year I actually rededicated my life to God, and that was the year I formed this first group as a ministry to discover my purpose, and I wanted to do gospel music. And in 2003 we started doing events, and now bringing out other artists, not just my group, but bringing other artists in as well. So from that, I was able to use that as a way to create a platform for my group. So bringing other artists that were doing well at that time, and bringing my own group in there, build confidence, created platform for me, that I didn't have to go and ask anybody to put me in that concert. Now I'm doing one of the biggest concerts in Manchester then.
Okay.
So that a lot of people were coming, all the students and all that. So it was popular. So now nobody can tell me I can't sing in my own event, or I'm not good enough.
Okay.
And that was the beautiful thing about it. So we created a platform basically, not just recording, but also doing the live event, but bringing other people in as well that people would like to see. Because if you do a concert like just by ourselves, it wasn't always solid enough, I guess. So I think it was always good for other people to also come in, and other people to also come in as well and enjoy gospel music in general.
So I mean, what's striking here is the fact that you're constantly thinking ahead, thinking the big side, and I think it is true. If there's many things to look at Puff Daddy, but the fact that he, as I said, started off as a dancer, A&R, then rapper, record producer, and just
wow.
that.
I didn't know that. He actually started off as a dancer.
Yes, he was at Howard University. He used to just do a lot of dancing at university, and he had an internship at Uptown Records, and he didn't go back to university. He just stayed on, and his job was to carry keyboards and to help out in the office and take the artists into town so they can buy their clothes. But they started to see that hunger and desire, so he started to expand, and that sense of family and tapping into making. I think he had the gift of making things, people who are very talented, taking them and bringing that out. Biggie was Biggie, but he brought it out and stuff. But it's just to see how you could see something like that and say, I'll take it, I'll look at what he's doing, and be able to apply it to. It's like being, looking at Warren Buffett and seeing, or Jeff Bezos, or any of these very successful people, and saying, what is it they do to become successful, and taking that. So you're now big in Manchester, doing live events and things. Did you think, well, we've made it, or what was what were you thinking ahead, and how did things evolve from there?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage we're not making any money or anything, and so one, we can't think like we've made it. And number two, it was just a group. We're just a group of people that love singing, and we're all happy, and people won't know us, but we're a unique group. And for me, one thing, the challenge is that as in a group, sometimes we have a show and some of the members can't make it. They just message me, sorry Sam, we can't make it today. Wow. So I've had to just pretty much, I remember one particular show, I had these other two members that said, yeah, we can make it. And then on the day, they just messaged me, sorry Sam, I can't make it. And and this was another community choir I was part of, and they've given me this platform. I didn't want to let them down. So I ended up going by myself, and I sang, and I sang so beautifully. I felt it myself, and I was like, okay, this is it.
Oh, this is when you decided to go for, okay.
Yeah, and then that happened to me another time as well, where there was supposed to be 5 of us on an even bigger platform. We ended up with 2 people, just me and somebody else. Again, we came pretty much first. It's like a competition with all the universities in England.
Wow.
All the acclaim black minorities society in England. It was big, and then we came first in the singing part. The guy that won it, number 1, was a poet. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
I never forgot that day. That was 2002 as well. 2003. And for me, it was like, wow, okay. I sang a Yoruba song with the audience of thousands of students that are not English, that are not necessarily Yoruba, Nigerian, and I was, we came, pretty much, we're second, basically. The person that won wasn't a singing person, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. It just shows me that dream can come true. And then from there, those things just keep driving me on. Like I said, I started thinking more doing stuff myself as well. Even though I didn't end up doing a lot by myself, but my confidence was being built in believing that one day really I would be a solo artist. But because I enjoy just having the group there, it's something I continued to just always have a group of people that I sing with. But when I couldn't sing with that group, I did stuff by myself.
Now, with all this though, were you because singing is one part, but there's the music and the lyrics. How was that being taken care of? Who was writing and who was making the music?
Yeah, I was always writing. We're always linking up with other producers that could do, that could bring the songs to life. But yeah, my song I was always writing songs based on what I was going through, journeys that I was going through in life. But then in 2007, after a big tour that we did with some other artists in the US, we did it here. We brought some artists down from the US, and we did a tour. And for me, it was like, wow, US artists, then you were anything US artists,
pinnacle,
big thing, everybody, big things. So I did this major tour with these US artists, like when I mean major, it's probably one of the biggest I've seen done in the UK before. And all that with them, and I thought, wow, this is amazing, this is big. I didn't make no money from it. I never really did this then because of money, but the time I put in was ridiculous. Full time working to promote other artists, and I didn't feel like I got a thank you for it from even those artists. For it, when I mean thousands of people, thousands of platforms. One of the venue we had in Northampton was I think it was about 2,000 to 4,000 seater, and it was a sold out event. So a lot of effort was really put into it, and I got them on Excel to perform at a Festival of Life in Excel, the Youth Gen. So this big platform was open to these artists from the US that everybody was thinking, who's behind this? And it was me, Sam Adebanjo, the Desire to Worship God, my group. But what we didn't do is we didn't give ourselves enough platform to actually perform on those platforms. So in 2008, at 7, I decided to record, to take it to another level by recording an album with my team. So we recorded an album, and in 2009, we got our major name How, which is where we got the mobile nomination.
Wow.
When we got the mobile nomination, that came out from, it came out basically, we did an album, no name, a group that didn't have a name. We were just doing these events and all that stuff and singing. But then we went to the studio and recorded with the artist, and then we I don't even remember when I even sent the stuff to the mobile. And then one day I just woke up and somebody said, congrats, and I was like, congrats for what? Because you've been nominated for a mobile award. Desire to Worship God is everywhere. And I was like, what? I could not believe it. Like, as I'm telling you right now, even then I was like, I'm not talking about mobile now, I'm talking mobile award at its peak.
Yeah.
At its peak, 2009, this is when they went to Scotland for the first time. So they had to put a lot of effort into that. And I went to Scotland, I walked on the red carpet with some of my members, and it was a dream come true. So I realized that, wow, God is saying to me, don't stop, keep going. To somebody else, we were nominated alongside Kiki Sher, Mary, New Direction Crew, and another UK artist. So for me, it was like dream. From there, we got nominated for several other awards, and I think that's where it really started for me. The album first was amazing. It was super amazing, to be honest. So today, I can listen to it and it's still fresh. That's the standard of the album, very high standard. And so I wasn't really surprised. It wasn't by luck, it wasn't by fluke. The album was just super dope. For me, it was just one of the best things that came out of the UK. Even to now, I listen to it, I'm like, and I still get people say, wow, I got your album years ago, I met you. Or wow, the album got me through this. This person I saw last year said I listened to your album. I remember years ago you gave me that album. She was going through divorce, and that album helped her through divorce. And I was like, wow, praise God. That's the sort of thing that kept me pushing forward to now 2020. Since that album, I've done another 2 albums. The next one was the double album, which was double, which was done again. Half was recorded in the US, another one recorded in the UK.
So we don't jump. So because you've been nominated for mobile, you've got a group, and after the whole nomination and the furor around that, at this time were you thinking, I'm going to make a career out of this, and I'm going to dedicate myself, and as a group we're committed to doing this? Because you've mentioned previously that members weren't showing up at different events. What was the mindset after the mobiles and thinking, okay, look where we've reached? What was this mindset then?
Definitely. Even after that, it was still hard to get committed people to it. And
despite the mobile nominations and seeing everything
despite the mobile nomination, which everybody was excited about, but at this stage it was still like, people were like, okay, let's do a tour. Then we did a UK tour, but people were young. Obviously we were way younger, but people still, there was no commitment, because it's free. It's their free time, to travel around and do all these things without money. Sometimes it can drain you out.
But why no money? And I guess that's what people will not understand, is that if you're touring, people are paying to come to see. So why aren't you getting paid to perform?
We were getting paid, but there wasn't enough money to pay everybody. Because at this stage, the group is, you now have to have a band, do a live set, so you can't use backing track. And sometimes you will just get enough to cover your travel, or just to say to somebody, okay, you guys, take £20 there, if you're lucky, £50 there. And by the time you even travel, it doesn't cover much. And and for me, that was the challenge in it. And I had a full-time job anyway. So, yeah.
So I guess, and I guess this is where the whole business part of comes out and reality. And I think that's where the music business separates from being a musician, is the fact that it is a business, profit and loss. You can't, if you're trying to survive in it, you have to be sure that you can see the revenue coming in. And the purpose of the tour, was it to promote the album and get your name out there? But what was the balance of that?
Yeah, the purpose was to promote. Yes, it was to promote, get the name out there, let more people see what we are about as Gospel Touch. What not Gospel Touch? Desire to worship God, now called more Gospel Touch. It was just about that. It was lovely experiences. We had an amazing experience when we did our we've done a US tour, we've done a UK tour, and it's all been amazing experiences, to be honest. The money is nothing compared to what seeing people rejoicing, people happy, seeing ourselves, everybody does when we're all traveling, 11 of us, sometime 8, traveling across, just singing in different churches and different events, mainly churches most of the time. And it's great, but the only issue is that challenges, churches don't have money to pay. Okay. Especially if you're not really known. You can have a mobile nomination and it helps you. Yeah, they got a mobile. Yeah, it's amazing. If they give you £500 and you got 11 people to share £500 with, and sometimes they give you £500, you might be thinking, I spent so much money on this already. I'm not giving you guys £500. I'm just gonna give you something to cover your costs for your travel, and I keep the rest in my account, or something to go towards what I've spent so far. So in a way, the money didn't really circulate, and even when you get the odd one there, so you didn't get enough to kind of cover your costs. So as I started having family, it became more challenging than everybody else. The other members are having families and people moving on. A lot of people join you one set, the next time they're gone. And that's a very common thing that happens with groups. People go, people come, people go all the time. So so I'm going to pause a minute because I don't want to jump too much ahead of your question. So else I'll keep talking.
And so then I guess after coming back from this major tour, then we've gone in a situation where a crossroad, whether I'm going to take this seriously and go full time, but if I'm doing that, I also probably need to get a team that's also committed the same way. Does that then come across where the change of name happens, or what was the circumstance that changed?
So in 2012, 2011, I think 11, we did this really big event, and probably one of the biggest concerts I've held in London. Remember, I was in Manchester to 2000, and I studied in Manchester, and I moved at this stage, 2005. I moved back to London. So even when we did the recording, I was back and forth recording in Manchester. So by this time, I've already established now DTWG, Desire to Worship God, is now pretty much established in London, and then as a London group, doing really well. So I decided that, because of the high turnover of people moving, turnaround. Should I say turnover? Is that the right word?
Turnover. Yeah,
a lot of people going in and out. So I said, you know what? I need to do something about this. And I decided that I need to pay people. And also, I want to get paid. I want to do gospel music full time. And churches wasn't the right audience. It wasn't the right audience for our vision. Not because of the money actually, but because our vision is to promote gospel music in the mainstream communities, as well as promoting gospel music in the mainstream communities. So I thought, in order for us to do that, we need to be mainstream. We need to be. There's no point. The reason why this is not working, while we're frustrated like we're not getting enough bookings, we're not being paid, we're not being recognized. And I thought, the reason why this is happening is because probably look at our vision. So it came out of frustration for me in 2011 that everybody's leaving, people are leaving, So I wanted to give them an incentive to stay.
Okay.
So the incentive to stay was to pay them. It was a simple solution. So if I pay you, then you see as a job. If I pay you, you turn up and you do what you need to do. Do you get what I'm saying? So I can't place sign demands on you if I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
So that's what we did, and I think it helped. Since then we've had, most of our members from 2012 are still with us. I would say probably 70% are still associated. Of course, some people have grown, demanding a bit more their skills level, but generally, he's definitely solved that problem.
But then, did you change your name at the same time, or did you keep because you're now called Gospel Touch? But at that time, did you just what brought around the name change?
Yeah, so basically with the name change, I did my last album, and basically the last album I released in 2016. Actually, time flies. I decided to drop. The album before was called Sam Adebanjo and Desire to Worship God.
Okay.
And DTWG, that's a group. And then the last album, I dropped DTWG. So I used Sam Adebanjo. So Sam Adebanjo, now before people knew DTWG, they still knew me, but I wanted to not be the artist. So I dropped Desire to Worship God. But Desire to Worship God is still something that is there on its own, but it's just now AKA Gospel Touch in the corporate world. Does that make sense? So we decided that before we used to use Desire to Worship God Choir, but I thought it was a bit quite religious for the corporate clients, and so I decided we set up this agency before, which is to help other artists. So we decided to use that name Gospel Touch as a choir. So since then, Gospel Touch became we registered the company limited, and it became Gospel Touch Choir. So DTWG is still there. Sometimes I still hear people that have known us from before still say DTWG Choir, we do this. Somebody will say Gospel Touch. Somebody will say how's DTWG. So people still refer to around the same. If you know me from a while ago, you will always say DTWG still, even though it's not Gospel Touch. And
the reason I asked, because Kurt Franklin is very notorious for changing his choir, the family, New Nation, so different choirs. So I just didn't know if this was something that choirs and choir leaders do, just to get different names. But you thought it more as a strategically, if you were trying to make yourself available to a wider audience, having a name that is more transferable across brands was the main reason, as opposed to stopping one group and then starting another group.
No, not at all. The group, frankly, I'm not sure why he did that, but he probably did that for a legal reason, because he had some challenges with it.
Oh, okay.
With the group or something like that. So I don't know why he did that. Probably out of the group, but I knew he did have a challenge with one of their first album, in terms of the group wanted to claim some royalty back from him. But however, that's one of the person that's probably number one person that inspired me in the gospel of sin. Franklin is my big role model. I when I make music, when I write music, everything, I always want to be the standard, the level that is on in the songwriting and all that stuff. So aside from PDD from my beginning, PDD, I dropped that since when I got saved, and I picked up Uncle Franklin as my role model. That's somebody that I look up to, and I've had the privilege to meet him as well. Wow. And actually booked him before to come to the UK before. And I also run a music award as well. I've nominated him, gave him an award which he received. He sent me a video to say thank you. So yeah, it's just quite really interesting journey. It's been challenging with people coming in and out and all that. But I think moving the transition to Gospel Touch has been a life-changing experience for me in terms of my finances, where I am now. We're going from, not really getting paid, and now, doing music full time, and I am now an entrepreneur, Gospel Touch is now, you only have to search it on Google to see that it's pretty much everywhere. To God be the glory.
I mean, one of the things I'm hearing also is the fact that you because you've been running these concerts from university. So then, is that also an arm of what you do? So you not only as you've got your choir, your group, but you also putting on more events even now. And
yeah, definitely. We do events now. The last event we did, so every once in a year I try to put on an event, just something I enjoy doing. But the event, and usually we have another guest artist, and I would be a guest artist, of course. I would be an headline artist, not guest. Headline artist, and Gospel Touch would be a headline artist. That's just basically something I enjoy doing. So once every year. But the biggest one I've done, I'll say the biggest challenge ever I had was to do an event in Maidstone Leisure Centre. We did that last year and a year before, and we did a sister act tribute. Okay. That's the most challenging, because this was something I've never done before. This is something I don't know. But I just wanted to do it. I just said to myself, what's a good way to pull more people to listen to gospel music?
Yeah.
And I thought about sister act, how much people love sister act.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were able to pull it together in Maidstone. We've had the last one we had about 750 people there.
Wow.
In Maidstone, and the first one was a bit more as well. And it's just great. Of course, it costs a lot of money to put this thing together. A lot of it's scary. It's scary because you're like, who's gonna turn up? Then twice I've turned up to this venue and I've seen the whole hall packed of people.
Wow.
And both times I've almost cried. I've almost cried with emotion of joy and like, wow, dreams can come true when you believe you can do it. And what was quite interesting about that for me was the fact that it's an audience that I'm not familiar with. Yeah. Majority, almost 95% of people at the venue or more are white people. And for me, that's the biggest thing for me, really.
I think that's what is remarkable here in your story is from that early inspiration about the being inspired by Puff the Bad Boy, the whole sense of entertainment and collective and business side, but how that has expanded. So not just resting on we're just going to perform and we're just going to try and release records, but it's a business, and if we're going to do this full time, we have to generate income, and how to do that properly. But it sounds like it is a lot of work, and it means that there's a lot of dedication, a lot of planning, and it means you can't just take it lightly. Is it more work than you expected, and has it become extremely challenging, or did you see the rewards outweigh the challenges?
The reward, I just love it when you love something to do. When when something like, sometimes you feel like now with Gospel Touch, sometimes we deal with wild days when we dealt with 5 bookings in a day. And I'm not, when I mean 5 bookings a day, this is corporate, it is weddings, funerals, events, corporate TV events. So we've gone from doing church stuff to now doing corporate major events. Especially the wedding, still singing at church, but now we're providing a service. And that's one thing we're able to do with Gospel Touch, because you're providing a service now. Before you did it for free for many years, just loving it before. So now you're getting paid for it. Can you imagine? You're getting good money. Do you know what I mean? So what do you think? You know what I mean? You enjoy it, you do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's where, that's where I am. Like, I just love it. I love it. Sometimes like you're pulling your hair out because you're thinking, oh my Lord, and bad things have happened when you're like, oh my God, how do you imagined it that it could happen?
Yeah.
For example, like when you missed an event because somebody's done the wrong administration.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And that kind of thing is unforgettable and unforgivable to the client. But you know what? This is all part of the challenges, to it. And fortunately for us, we most of our clients are super happy, and we have some of the talented people, and so fortunately God has blessed us. I would say it's grace. It's by the grace of God. We travel, we make it to these gigs, we do these gigs, and it's not just about the money. That the money is good, the money is great, but it's not. There's a lot of people getting a lot more. There's a lot of people demanding more. But for us, for the stage where we are in at the moment, we're very content, and obviously we're striving for more. Striving for more is not just the financial part of it, but we want to impact people. We want somebody to say gospel touch, and who they are. That's what we're getting to. So we're praying for the opportunity. We missed the Megan wedding. We missed performing there, unfortunately. But you know what? We're praying for more opportunity like that will give us that platform to really, we've done a lot of TV stuff. Well, when those opportunities do come, you will know. And sometimes you might not know until you do it. So we're praying for that big door opening that is going to explode us to the next level.
Well, I think the final section of part was really just focusing on the actual music itself, because over the years there's been a change in how we consume music. Before, you'd have to make a CD, buy an album, go get a tape or a record. There's a lot more push around digital streaming, both on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes and Amazon and all these areas. How has that? I mean, I know that you've run a successful business in live performance. Do you still think about the digital side, the actual releasing that records, or do you think we've got a lot on our hands right now, so we just continue with our live performance?
Yeah, it's about priority for us. It's our priority. We do have, I think last year, just coming to the year, is the first time since Gospel Touch was established that we put music online as Gospel Touch, because mind you, Gospel Touch is also aka Desire to Worship God, which also has music online, but that's more religious. That's very religious to our audience.
Yeah.
So for the first time, I've been thinking, okay, we need to bring out something for Gospel Touch that our audience are going to be able to relate to. But we just find for what we do, it's more business. It's a ministry, but it's registered business. So we treat it as business, which means that what works well for us is doing live and providing services. So we focus on that. In terms of myself as Sam Adebanjo, I have a lot of music online, and I wouldn't say I'm making money from those music. I want to make music, and I want to. I searched my name the other day on Google Trend stuff, and I saw that I'm trending quite really decently, even bigger than some artists. I don't know who's searching my name, but somebody is doing it. And I thought, okay, great, but I need the money. I need to see the money on this. So, and that's where I am at the moment, where digital people that are doing digital, some people are on top of it and doing very well. They have a lot of listeners. They're on a lot of playlists, and if it works for you, it's working for them. Some people are mixing it together. They're doing live and they're doing digital. It's working well for them. Great. But I think with digital, if you have a big fan base of people that will really push your stuff, listen to your stuff, then it's great. You will make the money. Even though it's becoming more and more difficult to make money, because you can get this music free in most places. But the good thing is you also get royalties for your streaming. So for me as Sam Adebanjo, it's something that I want to do better. I want to get more booking as Sam Adebanjo. I want to get more streaming, make more money, make more impact. Money is good, the money part is good. But I want to make more impact with my name. I want people to know who's Sam Adebanjo. I know him. Sam Adebanjo. I know him. People to just buy my stuff. And as Gospel Touch, I want to do the same thing. So technically, I'm managing 3 different brands. Desire to Worship God is still there because there's a name. There's a place for it. People associate it with Gospel Touch because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a business. It's a trade. Desire to Worship God. And so you still got this wonderful, lovely brand. You know, I love Desire to Worship God because sometimes when we sing places and before, when you say Desire to Worship God, people are like, wow, what a beautiful day.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got Gospel Touch, which is just amazing, remarkable name. And then you got Sam Adebanjo. So I feel like I've got 3 brands. When I pray for that 3 brands, and I pray that God will open that major door for us. And I feel like if one get there, everything else, the other brands are just there as well with it.
So I mean, just our final question: what should we look out for? Anything that we should look out for in the near future from either yourself, Sam, or Gospel Touch, or events?
Of course, yeah. Sam Adebanjo. I have a new single coming up soon. I've actually started a 38 or 40 days countdown. So today will be 38 days.
Wow.
To release the single called "Rescue Me."
Okay.
It's an amazing single, and that's me, Sam Adebanjo, and Gospel Touch. Spotify, we releasing stuff pretty much monthly on our Facebook, on our YouTube, Gospel Touch, on the DTWG, so you can do Desire to Worship God, official YouTube Desire to Worship God. You should be able to find it. And Sam Adebanjo, you'll be able to find me as well on YouTube or Google. So yeah, so that's what things. Yeah, just constantly working, and you know, the new single is what I'm excited about at the moment. And of course, Gospel Touch is doing more release on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, goodness, I mean, I appreciate the fact that you've taken time to really not just take us through your journey, but also enlighten a lot of us on regards to how the business side of music, both live performance and the record side. Final question I always ask my guests: that if you were in a lift and you're stuck, and they said it'll take about 2 hours or 2 or 3 hours before we can get you out. If you had a choice of a film to watch, what film would you want to watch before they get you out?
What film would I watch? I'm not really a movie person. To be honest, I'm not really a movie person, so I couldn't. I wouldn't. The film I watched recently, I'm trying to remember what's the name of that film that I watched. I do not remember. But
Okay.
what film? I couldn't say.
And the final question then, the final question would be: if you had a song to listen to, any song if you're in the lift and they say, okay, let's play a song for you, what would you request to listen to?
I love Kirk Franklin, so it will probably be Kirk Franklin. And one of my favorite songs from Kirk Franklin is "You Don't Have to Worry." I don't know the title of the song, but it's an amazing song. You just go, you don't have to worry, you don't have to be afraid. Sorrow, they don't always last, but there's a friend in Jesus who will wipe your tears away. And if your heart is broken, just lift your hands and say, I love that song because I remember using that song through the most difficult time challenge I faced when I was in Manchester in 2002. So that's a special song. Okay. But just generally, Kirk Franklin, older album, would do it for me. And of course, my own songs.
Yeah.
My own song, one of the best songs I listen to be honest.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the time, the hour and stuff. It's been fascinating hearing your journey and stuff. And this is one of the things about Must Be the Music. This is why you endured whatever you did to say this music needs to come through. And that's the premise of the show. Everyone who I've spoken to as an artist has a story. It isn't just like I woke up and says I want to be a singer and just started to sell records. It was a journey and obstacles, but you still went through it, and you've gone to where you are today. So appreciate your time today. Appreciate the insights and everything. And you know, I will be putting information on this so people can know where to look out for your new single, which is coming out in, you said 38 days. So my reading is probably by the middle of September, I would assume.
Probably. Time is flying, and it's, you know, the only thing delaying it at the moment, I just need to get a nice photo shoot done, and I'm ready. And you know, but to be honest, I'm just taking my time. The track is so good, and I'm taking my time with it. I'm not rushing. I've got some other tracks as well to release after this, but I call this my breakthrough song. So I really, and it has to be, and so I pray that you get to hear the song, and you know, people that are listening get to hear the song, and they say, "Oh wow, I remember he did say that." Or maybe after the song, we play this video back, and I remember me saying that this is my breakthrough song. So yeah, thank you for having me on this show. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, well, definitely. Thanks, Sam. And as I said, we will, as before, when this video gets ready to be released, we will be giving snippets of what to expect, so people can be could be keeping their eye out and their ears out for your new track, as it's called, Rescue Me.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot. Take care.